In February 1884, representatives of 14 European nations gathered in Berlin. Otto von Bismarck, the German Chancellor, had called the meeting. The purpose was to decide who owned Africa. In a matter of 3 months, the Berlin Conference drew lines on a map, dividing the continent into territories that cut through kingdoms, across language groups, through the middle of ethnic communities that had lived together for centuries. Today, no single power can do that. China, the US, Russia, Turkey, the Gulf states, France, they are all competing for African governments' favor simultaneously. That competition gives African governments options that their predecessors never had. As an example, here is what the DRC's president actually did in 2024. African governments are mandating domestic equity stakes in mining operations. Zimbabwe, Ghana, and Mali have required that national governments hold ownership shares in lithium projects. The DRC banned cobalt exports in 2025 to manipulate global prices in its favor. These are tools that no colonial-era African government could have used. But the story is not the same as 1884. It is more complicated. And the complication, the fact that African governments have more tools, more options, and more leverage than they have had at any point since independence, that matters. African governments are still learning how to use the leverage the competition gives them. What I find myself wondering at the end of all of this is a simple question without a simple answer. When the competition settles, when the world has enough electric vehicles, enough cobalt, enough rare earths, enough military bases, what will Africa have kept for itself? Will it have built the processing capacity to refine its own minerals, the institutions to enforce its own terms, the regional coordination to negotiate as a continent rather than as 54 individual countries playing the same powers against each other? Nobody knows yet. And that is the most honest thing I can tell you about where this story is at right now. It is not over. It has not been decided. The room is full of powerful players with long memories and specific interests. And Africa is in that room, which is more than it could say in 1884. Whether that is enough, we will find out.